Another great day in the UK. Speaking of the UK, if you go into a petrol station and you see a person turn up in, let's say, a supercar, Lambo, Ferrari, for example, I guarantee that 99.9% of people that see that person turn up to the petrol station in this fancy car will either think, one, it's a drug dealer, or two, it's a rented vehicle. And all that may be true, nobody will actually sit there and think, you know what, why has this guy got a Lambo? What job has he done? What route of making money has he gone down to actually buy that? What circumstance have they done to do it, right? Because I can tell you now, it ain't going to be like a high school teacher or doctor or whatever. What have they done to do that? And I guarantee, just as with that example, in the few hours that you may have in the evening and the few hours that you may have spare, 99% of people are doing things that are basically just pointless. Netflix, PS5, Xbox, the pub, whatever. And although, people need some relief in that time, majority of people aren't looking how to escape the matrix, get out the rat race, or whatever. All they're doing is filling the time with pointless things, right? The thing on Netflix at the moment is something to do with Tyson Fury's family, or it's the Kardashians, or whatever it is what people will be doing. In the UK, actually trying to make money, being an entrepreneur is kind of just frowned upon, I feel. And even amongst your own peers, your own friends, if you try to do something different, start a YouTube channel, buy crypto, stocks, dive into something a bit deeper than the usual 9 to 5, once you start seeing some ROI from that, you won't be celebrated by your friends. In the UK, there's a big stigma attached to doing something different, trying something different than the good old 9 to 5. And it's as though people just do the 9 to 5 to fit in. I guarantee, if you're watching this now, you were to start a YouTube channel, I guarantee all your mates would take the piss out of you forever. Oh, look at this YouTube channel, rather than try and support you. And even when you start making money on it, it's like crabs in a bucket, trying to get you back into, you've seen the meme about the guys around the dinner table. You come downstairs, tell us about that Bitcoin, tell us about that crypto. I remember when I first got into crypto, and a friend of a friend, he was telling me that he bought Ethereum under, was it under $100? He bought it for. And at that time, and this is 6-7 years ago, he had 40 Ethereum that he bought under $100. Look at where it is now. And this guy went on in that time to make a lot of money, right? And when he was making that money, and that's what kind of got me back into crypto. I wasn't, thinking, look at this show off, look at this guy. I was like, good on you. Well done for doing that. There aren't many resources in the UK. There aren't many avenues in the UK that are promoting you to be entrepreneurial or thinking outside of the box. Aside from, I've gone through it myself. So you start a limited company in the UK, there's so many things that you have to do. You have to pay for your accountant, pay for all your software. You have to understand how dividends work. You have to understand how payroll works. You have to understand what you can claim, what you can't claim for your business. This tax, that tax. It takes so many months after you do your accounts to actually do anything. Your self-assessment tax. How does that work with your capital gains with crypto? How does that work with your income tax, with your DeFi? All these things are put, and then you've got child tax. You've got all these different things that are put in your way as an obstacle. And there actually is I would say, a point, well, you need to actually be making a bit of money before you actually start a limited company, because it ain't worth it otherwise. It is not worth it. The amount of taxes and hoops you have to jump through. I hope it changes with a new government, but there is no resource or no mindset out there in the UK that is pro business, pro entrepreneurial, pro making money at all. Whether it's your mates, your family, the taxes, there's the resources, there's nothing. Absolutely nothing. Look at the US in comparison. You know, everything's about, maybe too far the other side, some would say, make money, make money, make money, make money. You know, people take the piss out of Jake Paul, Logan Paul, these, all right, cringy influencers. But if you look at where they've come from and how they're making the money now, it is inspirational. I'm not saying I find them inspirational, but if you look at what they've done, you know, it should be pushed on to people that, and I'm not talking about, you know, he's done crypto scams or whatever. I'm on about the journey of just normal guys growing up to becoming businessmen, blah, 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 blah. And you see it a lot more in the US. That's why they've always called it the US dream. You know, you've got like someone like Arnold Schwarzenegger coming from Austria, becoming the biggest movie star of all time. You know, you don't get many stories like that in the UK. You really don't. I can probably not name you 10 famous entrepreneurs from the UK that a lot of people would know, in contrast to the US. And I know the US is bigger, but it is just not a place, in my opinion, that is pushing making money. You know, everyone celebrates being from the council estate, nothing wrong with it, but people celebrate that side more than the actual people who get in success. And we are a country, and anyone that's from the UK, and you're still watching this video, by the way, will agree with this. We love to build people up from nothing to where they are, then knock them straight back down. I can name it 1,000 times over, whether it's footballers, whether it's reality TV, whether it's just a man on the street. We build them up and we knock them down. We get behind them. Once they find success, we hate them. And for some reason, that is the thing in the UK. You know, you can name it with footballers, Wayne Rooney, Beckham, etc., etc., etc. You've seen it with Jude Bellingham now. And you could see it with, even in darts now. Luke Littler in his darts done really well. Now everyone's against him. Now he's made it. Everyone hates him now. Same with boxers, with Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury. It's the same thing over and over and over again. We love it when they're at our level. Once we build them up to become successful and they've made some money, we hate them. And that is a mindset, unfortunately, that trickles down all the way to UK guys. And I see it with guys that come in our crypto group that have this defeatist mindset still, and this hesitation to try and take things further than is possible. Whereas the US guys are all up for it, all up for pushing, all up for going to the top. And it is a big mindset change that needs to happen in the UK. But that's it for me. I just thought I'd record this video on a Saturday. Going to go back out into the rain now. But if you like my stuff, like, subscribe. See you all very soon.